was only a recess, a hard reset. Raise the blade the realest. Even when them have a voice, we still leave them speechless. Raise the blade. We said we not follow trends. Me got my own ends, make my own ends. Me no need them assistance at my own Benjamins. Trendy, trendy. Only for style money plenty, plenty. Pocket full of Benji, Benji. We girls pretty like Yendi, Yendi. Trendy.
Well, after a heated morning of Premier League action, and I streamed earlier to get the heat out my system, I had to go kick some ball. Had a great day at the pitch today. And I think I played against a man with better skill than Kai Havertz today at the pitch. Sounds crazy, right? Because we won the game. Arsenal Football Club won the game, and most of the fans who hold the club to a high standard are pissed off because a whole lot of shit happened, right? Now, this is my 100th and 11th or 12th video that I'm posting on YouTube, football content. And there is no video in 100 plus that you can go back and find me complain about referees or blame the referees for a loss, points dropped, draw, etc., right? Never. But not today, goddammit. Today, that referee, that Michael Oliver, you, Mr. Fasty, Batty boy, you. Yo, that man tried his best to ruin the football match again. We just watched Champions League all week. No refereeing controversy. But week in, week out in this Premier League, refereeing controversy. Every week. It's jarring, bro. It is jarring. Now, one of the reasons why you will never catch me wearing an England shirt or supporting any English national football anything is because of this reason. The arrogance of these people, of the English FA. It's coming home. Home of football and all this bullshit. Coming home where? The best. Okay, let's do this, right? The best defender in the Premier League, the English Premier League, we're going to put the E on everything, right? The best defender, the best goalkeeper in the English Premier League is a Brazilian, Alisson Becker, right? The best, I'm getting a glare there. Okay, let me see over here. The best center back in the English Premier League is a Dutchman in Van Dijk, or a Frenchman in Saliba, or a Brazilian in Gabriel. Right? The best striker in the Premier League, depending on who you ask. Big up the Specs. Or big up to Man City. Is from Scandinavia, regardless of which one you pick. Haaland is from Norway. Isak is from Sweden. The best two strikers. The best midfielder, Kevin De Bruyne or whoever, Belgian. The best right winger, Egyptian. The best players in the Premier League, in the English Premier League, are from overseas. Now let's take it to the managers. The best managers in the Premier League is a Spanish guy. The most managers that are fired. Let's take the managers who got sacked this year. Gary O'Neill from Wolves, Steve Cooper from Leicester, Russell Martin from Southampton, all Englishmen. Sean Dyche from Everton, sacked, all Englishmen in the English Premier League. If West Ham didn't sack Lopetegui and bring in Graham Potter, there'd only be one English ref, one English manager in the English Premier League. One. So they don't have the best players. They don't have the best managers. So what makes they think they have the best refs? The fact is they have the worst refs. Let's think about it, people. With all the talent in the world, the arrogance of the English Federation to think that they can only hire English referees. This is why we get what we get. Because they think they're the best when they're actually the worst. They don't get selected for international tournaments. And only in the English Premier League, every week, there's always a controversial refereeing decision. Every week. Don't have the best players. Don't have the best managers. There are more foreign managers in the English Premier League than Englishmen. It's an embarrassment. Furthermore, do you know that no Englishman has ever won the English Premier League since it started in 1992? Wenger, Fergie's Scottish. Mourinho, Pep, Klopp, Ranieri, Ancelotti, all foreign managers. But somehow they believe they have the best referees. The referees are shit. Absolute shit. Today, the sending off of Miles Lewis Kelly was just another blunder in the season riddled with refereeing inconsistencies, refereeing bad decisions. Now, at first, they tried to spin it and try to say, oh, denial of a goal scoring opportunity. And then they realized, no, can't run that because dude's 85 yards away from goal. 85 yards away from his goal. It can't be a denial of a goal scoring opportunity. Can't be. So now they tried to spin it and say it's violent play, violent conduct. It wasn't. Dude's cleats are facing away from the Wolves player. But that's what they're running with because it's a straight red. He couldn't wait to go into his back pocket to pull out a red. Now, the way the game is officiated or the way it's told to us that it's officiated, if you don't give a red card and it's a violent play, then referee, the VAR comes over and say, hey, man, you may have missed something. Go look at this. Right? Go look at this. So if he wasn't sure, then don't produce a red card because now we have the replay to see that it clearly wasn't. The Wolf fans say it wasn't. The pundits say it wasn't. But I'm pretty sure tomorrow the PGM or whatever the fuck is going to make up some shit to try to justify this bullshit decision. That clearly wasn't a red card. And the relief on his face when that Wolves player gave him an opportunity to send one of their players off further lets me know that he knew he fucked up producing a red card. Week in, week out, they just tried to ruin games with bad decisions. We shouldn't even know these men's names, you know, these referees. But it's like somehow during the commentary and bad calls, we all know their damn names. Michael Oliver, Simon Hooper, and Craig Dawson and all this shit. Like we know these men's names, not for the good reasons, because they're shit. Absolutely almost ruined a good game. Now, back to the game itself. Arsenal, whoever signed Kai Havertz and thought that this guy is a footballer that can take you anywhere shouldn't be allowed to make any more footballing decisions. Today is the day that he cannot walk into that locker room, that dressing room, and say, where was the service? I counted at least time Declan Rice put the ball square on his forehead. And he made a meal of it. Tierney came on and whipped one right in the breadbasket. He can't play. He is not a footballer. He cannot play. He is as bad as these English referees. Footballer like Kai Havertz. Now we go down and we go in halftime at 0-0. The very first thing that Arteta does is take off our best attacking threat. Our one direct player that can actually dribble and be his man. And brings on a center back / left back. Now it works out in the end because he scored right, so he looks like a genius. But again, why do you take off your best player? The message was sent was, oh man, we're okay with the 0-0. When we're 7, 8, 9 points behind Liverpool. Like, what was that? 6 points behind Liverpool. They have a game in hand. So many times today, Martinelli got into spaces where he needed a good touch or needed to drop his shoulder and beat his man, and he couldn't do it. He could not do it. Now, we went down to 10 men today numerically, but essentially we won that game playing with 8 because Havertz was a passenger and Martinelli is a passenger. Now, big up to Calafiori who came on, had the winning goal. I think Partey was good today. David Raya was the man of the match for me. That's what, according to the previous stream, I think when your goalkeeper is man of the match, you're not doing a whole lot of good things when your goalkeeper is the savior of the day. Now, he didn't have much to do, but when he did get called up on, he did make 2 good saves. One was a deflection from Cunha, had to change his direction midair to palm it away. And the other one was the invert back pass to Havertz from Trossard, where he had to time that tackle perfectly because he wasn't sure if that was a deliberate back pass where he could pick it up. So he went with his feet. So big up to him for doing that. He did well there. But man, I don't think I've ever been upset after a win. I don't know if I'm more upset at the refereeing decision or more upset at the tactics after we went down to 10. Now, full disclosure, after they went down to 10, there was no doubt in my mind that we were going to win that game. Even with a dead Havertz, even with a dead Martinelli. Because Wolves showed that they had nothing about them. Because when they had 11 up, 11 beat 10, they didn't really come on to us like that. And hopefully this performance will make Cunha further push to get out of there. Because 1, they're going down. And 2, them men are dragging your levels down, bro. If you think you're going to be a starting attacking midfielder or winger for Brazil, you can't be playing for Wolves. You need to be playing for one of the big boys. So you need to get up out of there. But, yeah. Dead first half. A lot of that is on the shoulder of Havertz because we did get chances to be up in that game. Real talk. Real talk. Now, a match that had none of that craziness. Routine performance, professional win. I'm going to run this clip. I ran it on the previous show. If you didn't see the previous stream, I'm going to run this clip of what I predicted on the prediction show that Liverpool would do to Ipswich today. Prediction for Liverpool, Ipswich. Man, this should be over by halftime. I think I'm even being nice giving Ipswich a goal. But I spoke highly of Delap just now. I think Liverpool may switch off for a second and they might get a sniff. But Liverpool putting 4 past these, man. It's at Anfield. Could be over by halftime. This could even be a case of one of those games where Ipswich will score first and then everyone get their hopes up. Everyone gets their hopes up and bang. 4-1 was the prediction. 4-1 is the score. Now, I have lost more money on bets than I've made this year, but I've gotten quite a few correct scores. The 2-2 Liverpool, Man United, the Brighton United score, and now this one, 4-1. Professional performance by Liverpool. Cody Gakpo is playing really well for Liverpool, and he's not getting his props. I don't think he's getting a whole lot of props, but he is putting up some serious numbers for Liverpool. And it's needed because then you can be over-reliant and over-commit to Mo Salah, especially with Jota being hurt again. Liverpool, balance. Right wing, left wing. Sadio Mane, Mo Salah, Bobby Firmino. The team was balanced. Prior to Cody Gakpo hitting form, it was right side heavy. Salah didn't score. Salah had a bad game. Salah had a dip in form. They don't win. So big up to Liverpool today for keeping pace, doing their thing, and a couple more wins. Next week, they go to Bournemouth, I think. They go to Bournemouth. Man City come to the Emirates. Big week next week in the title race. Because now we have a Man City that's hitting form, and we'll get to that in a minute, coming to the Emirates. Now, this could be sticky. Could be very sticky. Champions League games in between. Man City need to win midweek to advance to the round of 16. Arsenal, for all intents and purposes, have already qualified for Champions League round of 16. City need to hit. City need to hit what? The round of the playoff. Then they'll have an additional 2 games to play later on. All right. So midweek fixture. Then City come to the Emirates. Liverpool are away at Bournemouth. Could be further distance, or it could close a little bit. So next week will be a major, major talking point. So kudos to Arsenal for not dropping points today, because heads drop with that Man City machine coming into form. And now City are back in the top 4 after having 2 wins in like 11 games when they were going through that rough patch. Losing to Manchester United at home, losing to everybody. And somehow they find themselves only behind Forest, Arsenal, and Liverpool. They're ahead of Chelsea, ahead of Newcastle, who been in the form of their lives. Like Newcastle had won like 7 in a row. Now City are above them, with City having lost in 5 games. City are in form. They've had 13 points from their previous 15 fixtures. So City are doing their thing. Now, the match of the day. We have to discuss it. Now, I put them in the thumbnail because Sky Sports isn't doing it. FootMob ain't doing it. The Premier League website ain't doing it. Another big game. Another Cole Palmer stinker. Another big game. Another Cole Palmer stinker. But when he stat pads against Wolves and West Ham and this shit, he's everywhere. He's the flavor of the month. They don't do this for Rashford. They don't do this for Saka. What is it? Is it the complexion of protection? Because the energy is not the same. I don't know what it is, but I know the energy is not the same. Now, Chelsea, what do we make of Chelsea? Because Chelsea finished 6th last year. They're 6th now. But because they finished 6th last year, people would think that they were like in the top 4 and fell off towards the end of the year or something. But that's not the case. These men spent most of the year in 10th place and won their last 5 games. They spent most of the year 9, 10, 11, 12. 12, 11, 10th. They fluctuated between 10 and 12 all season long. And then the final 5 games, they won all 5 of them when everyone else was flying kites and checked out. When the league table was set, when everyone pretty much knew who was going to be in the Champions League, who was getting relegated, the middle of the pack. And they won their final 5. And if you're in the middle of the pack that's congested, 15 points can elevate you a hell of a lot. So 15 points elevated them from 10th to 6th. And they're 6th now. After £1 billion plus. They're well over £1 billion now. £1 billion was in the calendar year 2023 by itself. That 1 year, they spent in excess of £1 billion. And then they've added to that. Only to be on the same amount of points as Bournemouth. I don't even think Bournemouth is worth $1 billion as an institution, as a club. They're on the same amount of points as Bournemouth. And next week could only be 1 point ahead of Villa. Chelsea are shit. They're absolute dog shit. And it couldn't happen to a better fan base. Because all these Chelsea fans that been messaging me. They won't come on the show and talk. But they'll message me. They live off reels and memes of the Champions League from 2012. Right? And that's what they do. Now they have crawled back into their caves because they're not getting Europe. Well, they might get Conference League again. But the City and Chelsea game, Pep don't even rate these men. So much so that he started 2 players today that never played a minute in the Premier League before. Deep that for a second. Man City went into a must-win game for their European push. For some City fans, you ask them, they're still in the title race. Right? I don't think they are. They're 12 points behind Liverpool. I don't think you can catch Liverpool. I don't think you make up 12 points on Liverpool. There was a City team that could, but not this team. That team with Rodri and prime KDB could. But that's how little Pep thinks of Chelsea. That he started Mamouche and that where's that kid from? That Ukrainian kid that he started. Kid, man, don't even speak a lick of English. Was signed yesterday or day before yesterday. Started today. He was the first one to get hooked. Kushinov, Uzbekistan. He started today. Because Chelsea is not any good after all that money spent. Pep starting those 2 players today who have never played a Premier League game before is a sign of huge disrespect. We don't rate you, man. I'm gonna start 2 guys today that's never kicked the ball in the Premier League before in a must-win game, and we're gonna beat you. And I predicted 3-2, a comfortable 3-2 at that. All right, I didn't believe. I thought City would be 3-0 up, then Chelsea get one, and then another one consolation, and then it looks closer than it really was. Big up Richie. Yeah, you did tell me he was gonna start. I didn't think that Pep would disrespect Chelsea like that. I really didn't. Yeah, so big up for Richie on that call. I thought Pep would have been a little more cautious. But he's like, nah. Kevin De Bruyne is in conversations of the world's best midfielders. In conversation of Premier League best midfielder of all time. In a must-win game. Nah, I'm not starting you, bro. Let me start this new guy. Let me start him. Never kick the ball in the Prem. Because I don't trust this Chelsea side. I don't believe in them. They can't do nothing. I was streaming at the time, so I didn't even get to see. So I'm going to watch this back. Yeah. But 3-2. Chelsea did the business 3-1. I mean, City did the business 3-1. And here's the thing with Chelsea. They don't know what they're doing. Because they have to get Champions League. With all the money they have spent, they need Champions League. Because they can't go buy another center back. They had to recall Chalobah. They had to recall Chalobah, bro. So now Chalobah, in the space of 2 weeks, I've played Premier League games with 2 different Premier League teams. 3 games with 2 different teams. Because Chelsea knows the rest of their center backs are ass. But no media scrutiny for Cole Palmer. Another big game, another stinker. I want to hear from the Chelsea fans. Crawl back out of your caves. Come on, Brother Reese. Hugh. Baba. Mr. Keith Simpson. You message me every day on Instagram. With reels, proper Chelsea and all this shit. Over $1 billion spent, bro. And you're on the same amount of points as Bournemouth. We're gonna let that sink in. We're gonna dig that out. Bournemouth as a club is not worth £1 billion. You have the world's most expensive midfield. You try to do a combined 11 with these men, they'll put 8-9 Chelsea players in there. But that's 5 L's. Forest have won 13 games. And they lost today. They took a battering. And still have won more games than Chelsea. So it's not a good look. I don't care how they try to spin it. They have won 1 game in their last 5. And that was against Wolves last week. Relegation Wolves. That couldn't beat us today with 10 men. At home. Until they went down to 10. But I want the same energy from the media with Cole Palmer. Because even when England lose, they don't put Harry Kane on the newspaper. They put Saka and Rashford. Right? They skateboard. They don't put Harry Kane. They don't put Eric Dyer. They don't put none of them. Whenever England have a stinker, Saka's face go up there. Rashford's face go up there. But whenever he stat pads and scores a bunch of penalties, now he's a good player. I just want the same energy against the big games. Because against Liverpool, Saka turned up. Scored. Did he even play today? I've heard Madueke name get brought up with Saka. Man scored today in the 3rd minute. I didn't even know he was on the pitch until the 88th minute or something. So, the Chelsea fans have to answer for their crimes. And this is the thing. Pedro Neto. Need to speak on him. Because I just spent the first 5-10 minutes of this video going at Havertz. Havertz has 8 goals. And that's a terrible season. 8. Havertz has more goals than Nkunku, Mudryk, Neto, and Sancho combined. Dead Havertz. Yep. Because when we speak of Chelsea's attack, you know, it's fluid, it's free flowing, it's this, it's that. They have 1 more goal. And Arsenal's dead attack. Dead attack. But that's how quick football changes, because just a month ago, they had won 5 games in a row, and they were tied on points with us, and they were supposed to be in the title race. But they're not it. They are not it. Now, Newcastle. I have to big up Newcastle, because after what happened to them last week, they had to step up today. Now, it's just Southampton, right? So we say there's no easy wins in this Premier League. And now they're level on points with City, and they're above Chelsea. And they lost to a Bournemouth side that's going around slapping up everybody. Matter of fact, it was just last night, me and Richie was here bigging up the Forest defense. Bigging them up, which they deserve, by the way. Because the Forest defense, because right now, Liverpool have conceded 21 goals. Arsenal conceded 21 goals. Prior to today, Newcastle had conceded 22 goals. Their defense was deserving of the praise that they received. But Bournemouth put 5 past them. 5. So big up to Bournemouth. Big up to Bournemouth for doing to Forest what no other team has done all season. The most goals Forest conceded in a game was 3 at the Emirates. And I mean, anybody can have a bad day at the office, right? And hit a like on the video if you're just passing through, folks. Big up to all 8 of y'all watching. Appreciate your time. In case you forget. But Bournemouth can't be taken lightly. And I know we haven't been taking them lightly here because we've been giving Bournemouth their praise here on BBK Sports. We praised them last week when they slapped up Newcastle at Newcastle. They went to St. James's Park. Kluivert scored a hat trick. But Newcastle, that loss doesn't look so bad now because Bournemouth are proving that they belong right where they are. Bournemouth are competing for European spaces. When have we ever seen Bournemouth, number 3, number 7? Now, at the beginning of the season, if I said at match week 23, number 3 team versus number 7 team, fill in the blanks, no one could tell me they were going to pick Forest and Bournemouth. No one. Unless you just like have a crystal ball. Big up to my brother Views on Sport. Now, people, go subscribe to this brother's channel right here. If you want to hear some unfiltered, I won't say unbiased because he's an Arsenal fan, but if you want to hear some unfiltered content on where Arsenal are as a football club, go listen to this brother right here. Because one of the things I like about some of the smaller channels, is that these men can say what they want to say. They're not sponsored. They're on the hook to the club for press passes. Not under pressure by anyone. These men can speak how they really feel and tell the truth about what's going on at the club. Unfiltered truth. Now, if you're sensitive, it might be hard to hear, but it's necessary. Because that brother right there speaks truth on Arsenal Football Club. We might be doing something next week, so look out for that as well. But Views on Sports, go over there and subscribe to him, because if you want truth, if you want strong opinions backed up by truth, facts, data, and statistics, that's where you go. And it's not watered down, people. It's not this let me not even call them out. But yeah, go subscribe to Views on Sports, people. But Newcastle reacting to a beating at home. Big up to him. Big up to him. Because now there's never a good way to lose at home. I'm not saying it's a good loss or whatever. But looking back now at what Bournemouth are doing to other teams, it wasn't that bad. Now, when we lost to Bournemouth, I think that was a bad loss, because I really think we could have beat them that day. They got a penalty and they beat us off a set piece, but I think Arteta completely ruined that game, because as soon as we went down to 10 men, he took Sterling off and brought Kivior on or something to play a defensive formation. You can't do that. So essentially he said, come on to us, but you can't do that against Bournemouth when your best defender just got sent off. You could have at least saw the game out to halftime. Now, you can say from today's performance that he learned from that and at least got to halftime, but he still did make a defensive sub and took off Nwaneri and brought on Calafiori. Now, he looks like a genius because Calafiori is the one who scored. But there were plenty of time during that game where Martinelli was in spaces where I think Nwaneri could have did way better. Because Nwaneri dribbled past people for fun. Martinelli cannot beat anyone. I think that Ivory Coast kid from Wolves got plenty of change out of Martinelli today. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, big up, my bro. Big up. So, Newcastle tied on points with City. Newcastle next week. Oh, they got Fulham. We got City. Mad fixtures coming up. Mad fixtures coming up. But Newcastle, big up to them. New manager bounce for Everton. Is that 2 in a row? Is that 2 in a row for Everton? It is. Everton did Brighton. Everton did Brighton and kept a clean sheet, people. Everton Football Club kept another clean sheet against Brighton. Well, you know Brighton score. I wouldn't have predicted a 1-0 Everton. I probably would have predicted a 1-1, a 2-1 either way. But to keep that Brighton attack quiet for 90 minutes, fair play to him. Another English manager sacked. Another non-English manager coming in, doing the business. Now, midweek, I expect Arsenal to rotate. I expect these men to focus. I expect these men to know that next week against Manchester City is a must win. I don't want to hear anything about getting a result. I want 3 points next week, because if you have to put a percentage, if I have to put a percentage on Arsenal's title hopes, it's in the single digits. It's less than 10%. So any more drop points, not even an L, not even a draw, and it's really got a pulse, bro. Defibrillator time. Defibrillator time. And it's still, yeah, it is still Big Moyes at the wheel. Next week, they have Leicester. This man could get rude sacked. He could essentially get rude sacked. Because I expect Leicester to lose to Tottenham tomorrow. So that could be 3 in a row. And the table doesn't lie. I think the table's taking shape at this point. I think Wolves, even though they're tied on points with Ipswich Town right now, I think they'll pull away. I think they have just enough quality to pull away. So if you're Ipswich, sell the lap now, because you get relegated, he loses all his value. Then you're going to lose him for half the price. You're getting relegated anyway, man. Just sell him. Just sell him. Give him a chance. Same thing applies for Dibbling at Southampton. I think he's injured, but sell him. Southampton, it ain't happening, bro. You're going down. You might, by match week 30, it could be mathematically confirmed that Southampton is going down. And them other two won't be too far behind. And that might be for the second year in a row, the 3 teams that got promoted, the 3 teams that go back down. I don't think that's ever happened in the Prem. Normally, one stay up. Remember, Brentford came up in like 2021. They're still up. And they're respected. Well respected in this league. Up until that match week 20, they had the best home record in the league. Do you know what I mean? Fulham has came up and has stayed up. Well respected. When did Forest come up? 2021? They're sitting 3rd. In it. So, yeah, I think the table is pretty much set. Who's going to stay up? Who's going to go down? But pardon my rant. Well, don't pardon my rant. I can't come on a public space and then say pardon my rant on the referees. But that shit really pissed me off today. Really, really pissed me off today. But after going to kick some ball myself, watch some La Liga, I was able to calm down and see things for what they are, and know that tomorrow I get to put my feet up, sit on my yak, and watch that team that shall not be named until they get in the top half of the table, until they get their goal difference into a positive number, will not be mentioned on this channel. I don't hate this team. I actually love them, because most of their fans are good people. Big up Brother Richie. Good people. Real youth. So they have some good fans. But as a club, as an institution, it's unfair for me to mention them amongst the big boys when Nottingham Forest have only been in the Premier League for less than 5 years and are sitting 3rd. And they're above Chelsea, who spent £1 billion. Luca, Big up yourself, Luca. Let me know what you thought of the game today. The Arsenal game. I know you commented about Liverpool's great performance and all that, but yeah. Big up to you, my guy. Out of respect for the top half of the table, the teams that are performing well, that team shall not be named until they make it into the top half and get a positive goal difference. Now, they got Fulham tomorrow. And I think Fulham going to do them 2-1. But I get to watch that game in peace with my yak, with my feet up, and just chill. So I appreciate Arsenal Football Club not ruining the rest of the weekend. Because they tried to. They absolutely tried to. The one day that I would give all the Arsenal fans a pass for having a go at the refs. Go ahead. They deserve it because they absolutely tried to do one on us today. But, ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching, hit the like button. If you're watching on the playback, also hit the like button. Give thanks. Take care of yourselves and each other. We leave it there. Until next time, we are gone. God bless.
It was only a recess, a hard reset. Razor blade the realest. Even when them have a voice, we still leave them speechless. Razor blade. We said we not follow trends. Me got my own ends, make my own M's. Me no need them assistance at my own Benjamin.